here for a long time. This is a welcoming religious community, and I am so glad to have all of you here this morning. My name is Reverend Dr. Claudia Hall. My pronouns are she or they, and I am just delighted to be here as the minister of this congregation. It is my hope that as we go through our service today, not only will you greet somebody new during our moment of welcome, but also that you'll take some time in our coffee hour and reach out to somebody new today. Today is our spring communion service. This is our flower communion. It's a lovely ceremony, and we invite everyone to participate to the extent that you wish. If you are allergic to flowers, there are also some that are fake as well. You should be able to tell them when you come up, but if not, I can help you find those because I also join you in the Can't Have Real Flowers camp. So we welcome everyone this morning to this home of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope because we are Unitarian Universalists. So before we go into our chalice lighting, I do want to lift up something. So we have a lot of new folks, so I'm going to take a half a second and talk about what it means to be a member. So as our church grows, one of the things that we do is we offer the opportunity for you all to become members of the congregation. This is not a requirement. You are absolutely welcome to be a part of this congregation your entire life and not be a member, and we will not think any less of you. But if you're not a member, you don't get to vote. And that's really important because we are a democratic congregation. I'm not like a pope or a bishop who does things from on high and dictates to the congregation. We're a congregationalist church. And so what that means is that you, the members, make all the big and weighty decisions of the church. So as an example, when we decided to sell the building and move to a different location, those were votes that members of the church made. And they do need to be, majority votes. So as we're looking at building, going forward, growing this congregation, we need to have our members and people who are interested who do that. And our membership bylaws say that you need to participate in our church through your time and treasure. So we don't put like a dollar figure on that because we know everybody has different means and different abilities, but we do ask that our members pledge. So we have a bunch of new members, and we're not going to embarrass folks today. We will maybe have an event for that later. But if you're new and you haven't had a chance to make your pledge, we encourage you to do that. You can talk to anybody on the board. This is really important. In some churches, the minister knows how much you give, and they kind of hang out with the rich people and not everybody else. That is not how it works here. I know this much about the giving. Literally nothing. I have no access to the financial information of the church, so I do not know whether you give $1 or $1 million or no dollars at all. I know none of that information. So my ministry to you is based on the fact that you're here and you care about this church. That's it. That's literally all that it takes. But as far as the running of the church, we do ask for you to give a pledge. To vote, you have to be in good standing, which means that you have to have paid your pledge and you have to have donated to the church in some way, whether it's with money or time. That was a really long intro to say that we have envelopes now. So if you give cash on Sunday morning and you want it to go to your pledge, get an envelope to do so. So if somebody needs that for this morning, let Robin know. Otherwise, we'll have these envelopes, sitting out at the beginning of church, and you can always track those down if you do want to give cash for your pledge. So again,
there'll be a bunch.
They'll be like in the basket, so you can always grab one and stuff it in. And we just need to know so that your pledges are counted appropriately, because we don't want anybody to miss out on being able to vote because we're like, well, you haven't paid your pledge, and you're like, but I swear I did, I gave cash. So that's why we need to track that. But again, it's nothing I ever know about. It's just something that our board treasurer is involved with. So hopefully that clears up the questions of membership and voting. And, we love having members. And I did a new member class, and I'll probably be doing that once a quarter or so. And it kind of outlays the expectations of membership and what we want from this community, because it is a congregational church, right? This is built by and for the people of this church. And so we really encourage folks to participate to the extent possible. And again, finances are not the only way that you can give. You can always give of your time and your expertise in things. We have a lot of folks that do that. And we never hold it against you. But, we do also need money, because that's how we keep the doors open and the lights on. So we like to have both and. So that is like I said, very long-winded explanation for these new envelopes. So if you see the envelope and you haven't caught up on your pledge, here's a way to do that. So that should take care of all of the background stuff. And now we can move on with the ritual of the church. An important ritual in our faith is lighting our chalice. We have a lot of different interpretations of this, including the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. The lighting of our chalice is a ritual that was actually started by the same person who did the flower ceremony, Norbert Chapek, and he is a martyr of our faith. He actually died in the concentration camps during World War II. And so he is very special, both as a person who started these beautiful rituals and also as a person who believed in his faith and lived it to the very end. As an expression of leadership in our community, our children have taken on both lighting the chalice or finding someone to light the chalice. And so today, Emily is going to come forward and be our chalice lighter. If you are watching elsewhere and have a chalice or candle, now is your time to light it, as we all join together in saying our unison words projected on our screen. Or not. That's okay. We hallow this time together by kindling the lamp of our prayers. This morning, as I invite you to join with me in a spirit of prayer and meditation, this is the original consecration prayer for the flower ceremony written by Reverend Norbert Chapek. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, be it great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. And to his prayer I add, Amen, and blessed be. We invite everyone this morning to take a moment and greet someone that you don't know as well and make a new connection so that you can get to know somebody later as we go into coffee hour. And then at the end of that, we're going to go to our first hymn, which is number 38, Morning Has Broken. So we have a wonderful tech moment happening, and that is okay. Number 38. Oh, what's the next hymn in the slides? The slides have Oh. Ah. It's not Easter today. Awesome! Time out. Alex is so excited for Easter that he just jumped a week ahead. And you know what? That is okay. I will let you know how excited my son is for Easter, that he's opened every bag of chocolate in the house this week. We didn't think he could climb that high, but he looks at me after I find these empty boxes and he goes, "But Mama, my step stool was right there." And I think to myself, well, that's called enabling, child. Okay, I guess we just got to give you some chocolate now. So it is okay. We all make mistakes. We all move forward. So we're gonna. That is what I get for being ahead of the curve. So that's my fault. I apologize on that. Let's take a moment. Well, you know what? We'll take a breath. It's okay. So our hymn is going to be number 38, which is Morning Has Broken. And it's just going to be, there we go. Look at us. It is a tradition here at the Metro East UU congregation to place each of our services within the larger sources and principles that we as UUs hold dear. While we are a religion that has no requirement of creed or belief, we do have things that we support overall. And the service today comes from our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all life from which we are a part. And from our sixth source of religious wisdom, earth-based traditions that teach us to honor the earth and its cycles. Now, when Reverend Chopek created this service, we did not say these words in these ways, but he knew that the cycle of the seasons and the rebirth in spring was really important, both to him and to his congregation, as they had been kicked out of mainstream Christianity, but they still wanted to give reverence to the earth and its seasons in a way that made sense for him and his people. Today we are celebrating the ritual of flower communion. It's a springtime service, and it is completely unique to our Unitarian tradition. It came into being long before our principles were written down in this form, and even longer than when we added and appreciated pagan traditions within our faith. In fact, this happened when back before we were Unitarian Universalists. This comes out of our Unitarian roots. But at the same time, he knew that there was wisdom in nature and wisdom beyond what was taught by the traditional scriptures of the church. It is in that deep knowing that our service today draws from nature and from all the lessons that spring holds for us to create new life and new meaning within our lives. I know for myself, I am also appreciating the great benefit that science brings to us as it is created antihistamines and brings them into our lives. For I can now appreciate the beauty of spring with a little less of the symptoms that go with it. As part of our weekly worship service, we take time for the expression of joys, concerns, and sorrows. This is one thing that does not change. We come together as a community to share the things that weigh down our souls and the things that fill us with joy. We come together in community so that we may be with those we love and who love us, whether we are celebrating or sorrowing. If you want to recognize a joy, sorrow, or milestone, we invite you to come forward, and we'll process forward here, take stones. Oh, okay, so we'll start here, but the goal is to do the loop this way so that you can get your stones and place them in the bowl and take as many as you need. If you have any mobility challenges or need someone else to put the stones in for you, just sort of lift your hand or signal, and Robin is our designated person this morning who can help you with the stones. We want to place a special stone of concern this morning for Reverend Kim Mason, the minister of First Church St. Louis, because she was injured in an accident and has broken her back and is in a brace for many weeks. And we want to lift up her and her congregation at this time as fellow UUs and just say that we are there. And if there's anything we can do, that we want to reach out and to be in communion with her and her people at this time. So I invite you to take a moment and come forward now in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Our children are so incredibly important, both because they are the future of our world, but also because they are here and now. Today, this is an intergenerational service, so they are going to be staying with us for our flower ceremony. So we invite everyone to watch a video with us about what this ceremony is and how it came about 101 years ago.
Come with me as we travel to Prague, Czechoslovakia, in Europe, the year 1923. There was a Unitarian church. Now, the building did not look at all like our church. In fact, it did not look like a church at all. It did not have a tall steeple reaching toward the sky like some churches do. It did not have massive doors carved of wood or windows of stained glass. It did not have a chalice, a piano, or flowers. The church had walls, a ceiling, a floor, a door, a few windows, and some hard wooden chairs. But thankfully, the church had people who came every Sunday, and they were the most important part of the church, because without people, any church is just a building, no matter how tall its steeple. The people of Prague had been through hard times. They had just recently been through 4 years of war. Many people in Prague had been divided about the war. Many had lost loved ones or had been hungry or scared, and even though the war had ended, many bad feelings still remained. The church also had a minister. His name was Norbert Chapek. Reverend Chapek had been the minister of this church for 2 years. Every Sunday he spoke to the people and they listened, sitting quietly on those hard wooden chairs. When he finished speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they went home. And that was all. No music, no candles, no food. Now, Reverend Chapek, he was a thinker, and he wondered sometimes if there might be something, perhaps just a little something more spiritual. He wrote some songs, and the people sang them, and it helped, but something was still missing. The church went on as before. One spring morning, near the end of May, as Reverend Chapek was out for a walk, he noticed the birds singing and the flowers blooming and felt the sunshine on his face. How beautiful the world is. And then an idea came to him. The next Sunday, he asked all the people of the church to bring a flower or a budding branch to church the next week. Each person was to bring one. What kind? They asked. What color? What size? You choose, he said. Each of you, choose what you like. And so the next Sunday, which felt like the first day of summer, the people came with flowers of all different colors and sizes and kinds. There were yellow and white daisies and red roses, blue asters, dark-eyed pansies, grape hyacinth, pink and purple, orange and gold, all the colors of the rainbow and more. Children helped arrange them and bring them forward to the front of the church. Flowers filled all the vases, and beauty filled their hearts. The church wasn't so plain anymore. They had created beauty together. Reverend Chapek spoke to the people, and they listened, sitting quiet and still in those hard wooden chairs. Those flowers are like us, he said, different colors, different shapes, and different sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful, important, and special in its own way. He said a blessing of the flowers, which called for everyone in the room to see one another as family, despite differences, and to let the spirit of love unite them and help them live more joyfully. He invited each person to take a flower home with them when they left, a different flower than what they had brought. And when the service ended that day, the people turned and talked a little bit more among themselves. And maybe there was some laughter, And then they each chose a flower from the vases before they left and took it home as a gift from their church family. And each year at the start of summer, they did this again.
Our next hymn this morning is number 63, Spring Has Unwrapped the Flowers. As we just heard during the children's video, the Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion that we are about to celebrate originated in 1923 by Reverend Dr. Norbert Čapek, founder of the modern Unitarian movement in Czechoslovakia. On the last Sunday before the summer recess of the Unitarian Church in Prague, all the children and adults participated in this colorful ritual, which gives a concrete expression to the humanity-affirming principles of our liberal faith. When the Nazis took control of Prague in 1940, they found his gospel of the inherent worth and beauty of every human person to be, as the Nazi court records show, and I quote, "This is too dangerous to the Reich for this man to be allowed to live." He was sent to Dachau, where he was killed the next year during the cruel and inhumane medical experiments promulgated by people like Joseph Mengele. This gentle man suffered a cruel death, but his message of human hope and decency lives on through his flower communion, which is celebrated widely today. It is a noble and meaning-filled ritual that we have recreated for the past 100 years to give voice to hope, beauty, and joy, no matter the circumstances we may face. It is said that as he waited for death, he and the other inmates of Dachau celebrated this ritual one last time. We bless now the flowers and those who share in the ritual, using his own very words, updated only slightly for modern language. I say to you each, in the name of Providence, that implants in the seed the future of the tree, and in the hearts of all people the longing for each other, to live in human love. In the name of the highest, in him we live and breathe and have our being, who makes mothers, fathers, and parents of us all, the brothers and sisters and siblings what we are, in the name of sages and great religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of peace and justice. May we now renew our resolution sincerely to be real and true to one another, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges one from another. In this holy resolution, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us, and may we all endeavor for a more perfect and more joyful love. Amen. I think about the fact that these words resonate still 101 years later, that the basics of the human condition continue, and that unfortunately war in that part of the world is still ongoing. Today, the vase that I brought in has yellow and blue to commemorate the fact that our brothers, sisters, and siblings in Ukraine are still under fire, and our own government is going back on its promises and is not continuing to help fund them. In fact, certain people who are running for the highest office in this land claim that it's not a big deal and that they should just give up. Even the Pope says that they should just surrender instead of fighting for the freedoms that they deserve as human beings. I find this incredibly difficult. And yes, war is horrible and war is awful, but to roll over in the face of an oppressor is even more awful still. As we join now in the flower communion, I ask that we, just as we did for our joys and concerns, that we come forward. And come forward, we're going to do it quietly. It is hard in this world of ours to have a time of quiet. We want to fill it with words, with laughter, with tears, with noise of some kind. So it is hard for us to come forward and be in silence, but I invite you to do that now. To come forward in a sense of silence, knowing how important it is for us to address our world and its unholy, unusual, unawful, all the things heat that is already happening. We should not be this far ahead in spring, folks. We're a month early for where we are in spring. This is not good. It is something that 100 years ago they did not anticipate happening, but we know how important climate justice is. And so we can come forward today not only seeking justice for human beings, but also justice for our planet. I ask you to come forward with gentleness for one another and for yourself. I ask that you select a flower, something different than you brought, most probably, and something that appeals to you. As you take your chosen flower, remember to handle it carefully. It is a gift that is given to you by someone else in this church who you may or may not know, who you may or may not care for. But we come together in community and in love to share with one another. It represents this person's unique humanity and therefore deserves your kindest touch. For those who have challenges and need flowers brought to them, we will have someone come around with both fake and real flowers so that you have a choice, no matter what your allergy situation may be. And we do this not to exclude or to make anyone feel less than, but to make sure that everyone has the chance to participate, because we are all needed here. Let us come forward in this ritual of oneness and love. just before he was put to death in Dachau. Reverend Chapek wrote this prayer reflecting on his own life and the state of his spirit, and I invite you to join with me now in this prayer. It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. O blow, ye evil winds, into my body's fire. My soul you will never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight and everything can worthless seem, I yet have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living. I have been pressed from all sides, but remained victorious in spirit and will be welcomed into the choir of heroes. For he who overcomes the fetters gives wings to the mind and enters into the golden age of the victorious. It is in memory of this valiant martyr of our faith and with thanksgiving to all those past, present, and future who make beauty together in our faith and around the world that we dedicate this service today. Amen, and blessed be. Our final hymn today is number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. As Robin passes around the offering basket, I lift up again the fact that this community is only supported by our giving. Our stewardship, as we said earlier, is more than just our financial donations. We always value those who can give their time and abilities as well. We offer the opportunity to make our church thrive and survive and grow, to become a place of love and joy that can truly spread hope into this community and the entirety of the Metro East. Again, if you need envelopes, they are here. Feel free to take some on your way out today so you'll have some. And we do ask that you give as you are able, for you are wonderful and generous people. But if this is your first time with us, feel no obligation to give, because we want our service to be our gift to you. Will you join with me now in our offering prayer? May this offering equip us to inspire love and seek justice. And Robin has announcements.
Okay, actually I want to start with Peg and have you come up here. We need volunteers. So.
Okay, manifest in your mind a Channel 9 pledge drive.
NPR pledge drive.
Now, every child will get one of these, but every adult that signs up on the volunteer sheet, I will personally give you one of these. And everyone wants it. You can wear it this week. You can wear it next week. You can wear it forever.
Now, Peg is going to be gone next month, which is why we need some extra people to step up to the plate if you can. And Lorna, you're gone a couple of times too, and I am actually as well. So I will.
We're a little light on volunteers for April and May. But you know,
awesome.
It's premium.
So, Coach, go see her when we have a chance. A reminder, we're going to have our collage afternoon on April 13th. Mary, have you gotten the announcement for the newsletter yet on that? All right, I'll talk. Sayer's actually out of town this week, but I will talk to Juliet and make sure we get a blurb for y'all. I think we're going to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, go for a couple of hours, just to hang out. So if you've got, even if you're not going to participate, if you've got some old magazines and stuff at home, whatever. I'm like, I got my AARP, magazines. I'll bring those too. But please bring them, if you can bring them for us so that we have lots of variety of things to share. We're going to have potluck on Easter Sunday. So if you guys want to, so we're going to have next Sunday. Afterwards, bring food so to share. And even if you feel like you can't bring something to share, doesn't mean that we don't want you there at the table with us. So please do. And lastly, as we are starting to fill this place out, the church board has already started our discussion about a new location for permanence, right? So that's, obviously on the list. We knew this would not be forever here. It's temporary, but we would like to have our own space. So I know that we have some ideas that we've been pushing around. If you see something, a property, whatever, land, if you think that might be valuable, we're trying to keep it fairly centrally located in like this general area because we want to keep it as accessible for everybody coming from distances. This seems to be a good central location along that 270 corridor, if we can. Obviously, we're open to anything, but we'll take a look at it. So if you have any ideas, just let me know and bring it on. I know we're going to go see something right after church today. For a couple of us, we're going to do that. We're going to continue to mask, obviously, in the sanctuary. Thank you very much for that. And I'll let Claudia talk about her classes coming up. And Alex may have an announcement too.
Alex. Nope, you come on up, my friend. Let me give you an introduction, though, because for a lot of you might not know Alex because he's always in the back there as our audiovisual person, but he is also our incoming board president. So he is taking over for Robin July 1st. So meet Alex, my awesome new boss.
All right. So on April 8th, as some of you may know, there are some celestial events happening. And that is the total solar eclipse. So Totality goes through a wonderful town some of you may have heard of called Carbondale, Illinois. So I've reached out to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Carbondale, made some friends, and we got a section of their parking lot, access to their bathrooms, and a nice field to hang out in. So if you'd like to come with us, I think we've got some of the kids going, and we've got a few people headed out. We're going to maybe meet here at 8:30-ish, I think, and then head out there 11, have a nice picnic, hang out, watch an eclipse. I'll have some science experiments for kids and kids at heart if they want to learn a few things about the eclipse. That's pretty much it. If you'd like to join us.
I would suggest that because last the campus will be raised and give yourself plenty of time, and maybe you can figure out all the little roads, and you will make not 57, because it's a parking lot to from Chicago for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So,
Good to know. So yeah, the eclipse I think happens at 2 something, 1:58. And so yeah. And so we'll be trying to get there at 11. So that should be plenty of time. We'll be sticking around till at least probably 3:30 because the official end where the moon is no longer touching the sun I think is at 3:13 or something around there. And so we can hang out there for an extended period of time, let the traffic dissipate, and head back at our leisure.
Yeah, that's what having done it.
Okay.
It's crazy, but I have some ideas that you back like your by Pyramid State Park. That might
Gotcha. So maybe we stick around and have dinner. You know, we have options. This is a relatively informal event. Other than the science experiments that I will have set up for kids and things to do, it's an informal event. There's no requirement. You don't have to do anything. You can just come there and have a lawn games and lawn chairs. So I have a selection of Eclipse glasses for those of you that don't have some to bring. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I bought a bundle of them, so I should have a decent amount. If you have some, bring them. If not, I will have some for you. What's up?
So the Glen Carbon Library has glasses through March. They're just for Glen Carbon residents, but we have plenty. So like March 1st or April 1st, we have a bunch.
All right. So for those of you online or that didn't hear, the Edwardsville and Glen Carbon libraries have Eclipse glasses available. They have a decent supply, as does Home Depot. So if you want to acquire some glasses, feel free to do so. They're open to residents of those respective towns. If you live in either of those towns, visit your local library, because local libraries are good.
And to tag on to what Alex was saying, you know, this is a fantastic low-touch event. You're not inviting your friends to church, but they can come hang out, get to know us, who we are, our principles, that we're decent people, that we don't sacrifice babies. Yeah, try to wear your name tags if you've got them. We don't. We really don't sacrifice babies. I'm sorry. I gave that up for Lent. It's not on my agenda, so.
One more fun fact. If you miss this eclipse, the next one in the continental United States will be in 2044. So, you know, mark your calendars down for that.
Yeah, so some of us will probably not still be at Metro East at that time. Let's just leave it that way. So the point is, though, is this is a fantastic opportunity that we have as a church to like do some outreach that's really low touch. It's, you know, hey, let's go on a picnic. Very, very easy evangelism here to get some folks that you know that are interested in science, to help them understand that we are a pro-science church, not many churches these days are. So that's a good thing to have. Also, create your own theology. We had a phenomenal class last week. There were 4 folks that asked me to send them a recording of the class. I did. It was an enormous file, so hopefully you can download that. But let me know. There is still time. You can still join in for the second class. It's tomorrow night. And folks just had a really good time with it. And it was from folks from all the churches. So, you know, one of the things we've done this year as Unitarians is all 4 of the UU churches in the area are cross-pollinating on our religious RE stuff, which is really important because we've been silos way too long. And if we're going to talk about being interdependent but then never talk to each other, it doesn't work real well. So we're trying to do more of that and go back and forth, especially in this day and time of Zoom. So that's really important to have. But again, not too late. Just talk to me. I can get you the Zoom link, and we can go from there. So next week is Easter. Great time to invite your friends, because I can guarantee you if you go to your friend who has left a church for some reason and you go, right, so my Jewish pagan minister is going to be preaching on Easter Sunday. If that doesn't get them interested in coming, I don't know what will, okay? So give it a try and see what they see. And you know, I'll be interested to see how many of you get some folks to come for that alone. If not for that, then come for the food, because our food is always amazing. So, all right. Right? We always have lots. All right. I invite you all to join with me now as we extinguish our chalice. The light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. The keepers of this flame until we meet again. Flowers are beautiful, ephemeral, and necessary for life on earth to flourish. May we, in our brief lives on this earth, bring as much beauty, wonder, and nourishment to others as do the flowers of this world, whose beauty is not dimmed whether they bloom in a desert, a swamp, or a dirty roadside. May we too flourish and blossom full of love today and always. Amen, and blessed be. Let's go eat.